is the big problem when it comes to medicine with centralized platforms? As a patient, let's say, what do I have to fear from centralized platforms? I have two things here. A fortress, it's a military centralized compound. And then there are a bunch of butterflies. A fortress is, think of like a Google data center. It knows a lot about you. It actually knows a lot more about you than you know about yourself, I guarantee you. You probably forgot many things that it knows about you. It also knows about your relatives much more. And with getting, for example, sequencing of genomes, it will know things about you that are extremely dangerous, because knowing somebody's genome is actually, a serious thing. Right now, that's not possible. There are thankfully, there are regulations in place. I'm not implying that that's the case now, but I'm just, taking a step forward. I don't want my detailed health data, be available in a central place. Why? Partly because I have this history. I grew up in Soviet Union. I know what a true totalitarian kind of rule can look like. But there's another reason, much more practical and less ideological. If something is stored in a centralized way, it is inevitable that it will be stolen. Inevitable. Let me say that again. You may think that wait, Daniel, think of all the security engineers that Google has. Think of all the and Facebook and whomever, think of all the security that's out there. They're protecting this. It's a fortress, for crying out loud, Daniel. It's a fortress. Yes, it's a fortress. But remember, all of the data is one place. It's concentrated in one place. Therefore, I will posit to you that it is inevitable that will be broken. It is inevitable. Even if it's completely indestructible, it looks daunting. Don't forget there's another thing. It's run by humans. There's a human factor too. And computers are far from invulnerable. I can count, there's not enough fingers on both hands for me to count the number of big hacks that happened over the last 3 years. The data is stolen, it's out there. Whether you like it or not, your data is out there. I also don't like that. As much as I distrust authority, I also don't particularly trust, dark web hackers. I don't want them to see my data. What is this about? Well, I'll explain to you what this is about. A fortress is an example of centralization. Can you guess what butterflies are an example of? Decentralization. Why? Because in the blockchain, there's another very, very important component that I didn't even mention yet. Everybody literally holds their own keys to the castle. Instead of, a better picture would be not a bunch of butterflies, but a bunch of fortresses, a bunch of fortresses spread out. Now, if you can think that they can break into one fortress, okay, but they stole one person's data. Is that worth the effort? I mean, presumably, yeah. It's easier to break into my computer than to break into some other computer, some big bang computer. But also remember, when I break into Big Bang computer, I broke a bank, quite literally. I made a lot of money already. When you steal my credentials, you don't get a lot of money, believe me.